Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If Fusion Deck User in a different Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 61, The Name of the Club. Hikaru was tidying up in the activity room. The school had assigned them a small activity room, though small was relative, since it actually had 4 or 5 rooms, and counting the duel arena, it was even bigger than the space Hikaru had used in the Fusion Club. Even though Duel Academy was rich and powerful, usually, an activity room of this scale wouldn't be so easily granted to a student club with fewer than 10 members. But, as the Academy's highest, self-proclaimed, authority, Professor Growler's power was limitless. Right now, Hikaru was organizing the cards given to him by his teacher and a few friends. There were cards from the ancient gear archetype, as well as others, like hero cards. Jaden had a huge collection of hero cards, and Bastion had a wide variety of miscellaneous cards. They were happy to share, and if others were willing to join, even better. After all, this was a real club, where anyone willing to join could enjoy playing cards happily. You didn't even need a duel disc, like Jaden, who could sit at a random table and duel the entire day. His card addiction was no joke. Moreover, this was one of the very few places where Hikaru could freely duel with Zane without being interrupted by Obelisk Blue students, which made him like it even more. Before, when Jaden had gone to Obelisk Blue to find Zane for a duel, he was knocked to the ground and splashed with cold water by the dorm's gatekeepers. Not that it mattered much, considering his superhuman constitution, he wasn't going to catch a cold anyway. It should be fine placing it here. After putting stuff away, Hikaru wiped some sweat and spotted Cyrus sneaking around, looking suspicious. Cyrus? Hikaru raised an eyebrow and called out. Ah! Aoyamaji. Cyrus jumped back 2 steps, scared out of his wits. Earlier, riding the group's enthusiasm, Cyrus had applied to join the Fusion Club, though after hearing Hikaru had invited Zane back when they were in Neo Domino City, he became too intimidated to follow through. He never knew how to face his brother, especially since Jaden was about to go to another dimension for a tag duel, and Zane had barged into Slifer Red to order Cyrus not to follow, telling Jaden to find someone more trustworthy. That led to Jaden finding Hikaru. After seeing how interesting his duels were, the two became friends. All in all, this dimension's Cyrus was even more afraid of his brother than in the original. Whether that meant Cyrus was too timid or Zane was too protective was hard to say. After all, in the original, when Zane dueled against Vampire Camula, even when he had the upper hand, Camula kidnapped Cyrus's soul to force him into defeat, and Zane willingly lost, turning into a puppet just to save his brother's life. As an older brother, he was absolutely faultless. Or rather, Zane Truesdale was someone beyond reproach. It was no wonder he retained so many fans and faithful believers even after the original story ended. But still, as the saying went, Zane himself had no flaws, he just happened to have a younger brother. Oh, speaking of which, Hikaru suddenly had an idea. Cyrus, you want to improve your relationship with your brother, right? Yes? He had mainly come to check things out since Jaden had been hanging around lately. If his brother wasn't around, he might have considered reapplying. Then how about this? Join the Fusion Club. See, can I? I can join right now? Did you hear me clearly? I said the Fusion Club. Amaji, didn't you just leave there? Hikaru stroked his chin and said, exactly because I just left, someone needs to stay behind. I created the Neo Fusion Club because the original Fusion Club wasn't really about fusion anymore, and it had gotten too weird. The seniors there are odd, but flipping it around, those odd seniors are actually quite impressive. You think your brother always sees you as too timid, right? This could be great training for you. Is that so? Also, since I'm setting up a new Fusion Club, we can't coexist peacefully with the old Fusion Club, right? If anything happens, you'll definitely let us know, won't you? I guess? These past days, I've received a ton of applications to join, largely first-year students, even some Obelisk Blue students, and, well, a bunch of girls who adore Zane. That's not important. The important thing is, if you join the Fusion Club now, it's like sending charcoal in the snow. You're Jaden's friend, and joining will be great publicity for them. Will it? Hikaru shook his head and continued, most importantly, you've always wanted to prove yourself to Kaiser, right? Joining the Fusion Club gives you a chance to duel us directly. Look, here they come. As Hikaru spoke, a group of students in purple uniforms began approaching the activity room, their faces stern, their movements neat and disciplined. Leading them was a senior Hikaru had met before, a third-year Fusion Club member, Kaname Kanbayashi. Kaname-senpai, long time no see, Hikaru greeted. Long time no see. Kaname stood tall, but the academy representatives behind him didn't look so steady. Kaname glanced at Cyrus, who was hiding nearby, and frowned. Kaiser's brother? As Kaiser's brother, Amir Slifer read, he still dared to show his face at the academy? Amagi, immediately apply to disband your club. ? Hikaru looked puzzled. Did you take the wrong medicine today? There's already a fusion club at the academy. There's no need to establish another. I can't believe Professor Growler approved your application. Hey, President, RA Yellow Rep quickly pulled him aside and forced a smile at Hikaru. You know, Kaname is always so blunt. It's the professor's order for us to come here. Mainly, you see, Fusion Club and the Neo Fusion Club, it's easy for students to get confused, right? Maybe just pick a different name? Like, Simple Fusion Club? Or Machine Fusion Club? Senpai, you should know why I left the Fusion Club and why I created this club. Hikaru stared directly at the RA Yellow Rep, making him nervously lower his head. From my perspective, your Fusion Club is neither about fusion nor is it a real activity club. The ones who should change their name are you guys, not me. On that note. He suddenly smiled thoughtfully. Yes, new? No, that's fallacious. I'm a freshman, but I shouldn't be the new Fusion, I am Fusion. Since you're all here, let's settle it now. From today on, you change your name. My club is the real Fusion Club. At the end, he pointed fiercely at Kaname. Why you? A few representatives stammered. Oof. Kaname snorted coldly and prepared to equip his dual disc without another word. Wait, Kaname, he's just a first year. Although they weren't certain they could beat Hikaru easily, it still felt wrong for upperclassmen to bully a freshman. My brother went to the Coliseum with Jaden today. Cyrus mumbled. Though they were indeed both dueling addicts, but also responsible, seeing Bastion drifting off even after only a few days of enthusiasm, they had even dragged him to the Coliseum. Don't get it wrong. I'm not challenging him as a student, but as a president. Kaname's eyes burned as he stared at Hikaru. Amagi Hikaru, let's duel, wagering the club's name. Zane might be the academy's number one, but Amagi Hikaru? He was just a first year and only temporarily. I couldn't ask for more. Hikaru, ignoring the RA Yellow representative's protests, lit up his dual disc and shouted at Cyrus, go call Professor Growler. Chapter 62, Armor Canine Gang. Gradually, a crowd gathered in the open area ahead of the activity room. Some were ordinary students passing by, while others were members of the Fusion Club who had heard about the situation. They divided into different factions, standing on either side. Is Kaname going to duel Hikaru? Zane crossed his arms and stood with Jaden, joining in on the fun. They had just returned from the Coliseum. Although the solo duel against that bizarre female spirit was intense, for Jaden, that level of physical combat was still somewhat child's play, so they had quickly secured victory. Meanwhile, Bastion, after realizing his beloved, Tanya, had turned into a muscle monster, had slowly recovered. Spirits are truly fascinating. Bastion mused. Even now, he couldn't forget the sight of that muscle-bound woman spirit. She had reverted to her original form after losing in a shadow game, but he still had trouble accepting it. He shook his head. A third-year dueling Hikaru? Why would he accept? What's the problem? Jaden scratched his head. I duel Kaiser all the time. It's different, Bastion shook his head. At Duel Academy, students were allowed to duel each other freely, even to wager duels, but some actions were strictly prohibited. First, wagering cards in duels. Second, duels between upperclassmen and underclassmen. The first was to prevent bullying, while the second required strict approval to proceed as a friendly match. Though upperclassmen weren't necessarily stronger, the academy still preferred first years dueling first years, second years dueling second years, and so on. Even other branches and schools like Shinsun Duel Academy and Spade Academy in Yu-Gi-Oh! ARCV followed the same rule. Getting harshly beaten during growth could easily shatter a student's mentality. By rights, even duels between clubs should occur among same-year students. But the Fusion Army exploited a loophole. Duels between club presidents, symbols of the club's status, were hard for even the principal to intervene in. What's more, seeing Hikaru's determined expression, Professor Growler couldn't reject him. Then, with that, Growler said, I will act as the judge. The duel process and result will be witnessed by all students. The winner retains the name, Fusion Club, while the loser must change their club's name. Then, duel begins. Duel, X2. Kan-Aim, LP, 4000. Hikaru, LP, 4000. I go first. Kan-Aim, having trained his reflexes for 3 years and honed them through other dimensional experience, sees the first move far faster than the relatively new Hikaru. So shameless. A third year stealing first move against a first year. Some Fusion Club members who already wanted to jump ship to Hikaru's side began whispering openly. Ridiculous. In a duel, going all out is the right way. Kan-Aim retorted, drawing a card and immediately moving into action. Kanami's deck, if I remember correctly, before he joined the Fusion Club, it was a ritual deck, Zane recalled. But since he's now the Fusion Club president, he must have changed decks. Could it be Ancient Gears? My turn, draw. Kan-Aim drew a card and immediately played it. I activate the spell card, Pot of Greed, to draw 2 cards. Hikaru watched him casually use a super band card, feeling a bit helpless. He had bought Pot of Greed for a while, yet he had never used it so far. Either it had been mysteriously absorbed by super polymerization, or it simply never made it to his opening hand. Next, I normal summon Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. Ancient Gear Hunting Hound, Level 3 Earth Machine 1000 ATK. What's that? Professor Growler blurted out instinctively. An Ancient Gear card, even he didn't recognize? Impossible. He was supposed to be the Ancient Gear expert. Wait, a card even Professor Growler doesn't recognize? Maybe staying with the original Fusion Club isn't so bad? If you want to keep getting looked down on, be my guest. Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. Bastion shook his head. I don't recognize it either. Probably a new Ancient Gear monster found by the upperclassmen during dimensional exploration. Zane nodded. In my 3 years here, I haven't seen it either. Unlike the others, Hikaru was quite familiar with the card. So it's the Hound, huh? Looks like this Fusion Army really is turning into the Armored Canine Gang from ARC-V? When the Ancient Gear Hunting Hound is summoned, its effect activates. Inflict 600 points of damage to the opponent. The hound barked loudly, leapt at Hikaru, and bit his arm. Hikaru reflexively flung his arm, tossing the hound away. He glanced at his arm. There was an actual bite mark. Looking up at the red-eyed Ancient Gear Hunting Hound, Hikaru had a clear grasp of the situation. Definitely, like the Armored Canine Gang. Hikaru, LP, 3400. It deals damage on summon? But its ATK is only 1000. Some students hesitated, still uncertain. I activate Ancient Gear Hunting Hound's effect. Once per turn, it can use monsters from the field or hand as fusion materials to fusion summon one Ancient Gear monster. I fuse my on-field Ancient Gear Hunting Hound with another in my hand. Fierce Hounds, combine your power and become a twin-headed guardian beast. Fusion Summon, Double Ancient Gear Hunting Hound. Another hound card flew from his hand, and the two merged and reassembled into a two-headed mechanical hound. Double Ancient Gear Hunting Hound, Level 5 Earth Machine 1400 ATK. Mamma mia, another card I've never seen. It can fuse itself. Still, the ATK is pretty low. Some students even began cheering for Hikaru. Nice, Hikaru. Just summon a monster with 1500 ATK or higher, and you can beat it. Feels like a weak first turn. Yeah, not hard at all. Naive, Can-Aim smirked, setting a card face down and ending his turn. My turn, draw. Hikaru drew a card. Instead of rushing to attack, he calmly observed the double-headed hound. Double Ancient Gear Hunting Hound, once per turn, if the opponent summons a monster, it can place a gear counter on it. During the start of the damage step, when that monster battles, it can be destroyed. Am I right? Kanami's smile instantly froze. No way. How could Hikaru possibly know that effect? Whoa, judging by his reaction, Hikaru guessed right. No, that's not a guess, Hikaru obviously knows this card. Weird, why doesn't Professor Growler know it then? Maybe he was just fooling us? The students turned to look at Growler, who wore an awkward, very unnatural smile, trying to maintain his composure. Mamma mia, how does Hikaru know it? And why don't I know it? Phew. That was close. Good thing Hikaru knew the effect, or he'd have fallen for it. Of course, Hikaru knew, he's the ultimate fusion duelist. No way he'd fall for a trick like that. Even the reps behind Can-Aim instinctively nodded, only to be glared at by Can-Aim, quickly straightening up. Then, I special summon, Cyber Dragon. Next, Fusion Summon. I fuse your Double Ancient Gear Hunting Hound with my Cyber Dragon. Hikaru laughed boldly. Double Hunting Hound? Cyber Dragon? Fusion Summon. Can-Aim was dumbfounded. Fusion. Countless students gasped in astonishment. Chapter 63, Dripping with Sweat. A multi-headed mechanical dragon, its body almost entirely composed of tires, appeared on Hikaru's field through the smoke. In its place, both Double Ancient Gear Hunting Hound and Cyber Dragon had vanished. W what? My Double Hunting Hound. What just happened? Hikaru raised the monster card on his field. Chimeratech Fortress Dragon's fusion materials are Cyber Dragon and one or more machine monsters. It sends itself and the opponent's listed fusion materials from the field to the graveyard to special summon itself from the extra deck. It needs neither polymerization nor the opponent's consent. And its ATK equals the number of fusion materials times 1000. Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, Level 8 DRK Machine 2000 ATK. You bastard. Can-Aim clenched his fists, trembling all over. Even when Hikaru scolded him earlier for being neither fusion nor true to his club spirit, it hadn't hurt like this. The Double Hunting Hound wasn't even a soul card to him, just a tool. Still, watching his monster get absorbed without even a chance to speak left his fists hardening uncontrollably. Zane, that's Cyber Dragon? Alexis asked curiously. Zane nodded. Hikaru traded a Cyber Dragon from me with a Cybernetic Revolution. I have tons of Cyber Dragons, original, Veer, Dre, Zwei, and even several copies of the original for my brother later. Trading one for Cybernetic Revolution was definitely worth it. As for Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, Zane smiled. It's different from mine. He probably found a variant in the other dimension. In this world, it was common for cards to have alternate effects despite identical names, like Zane's Future Fusion being vastly different from Hikaru's weaker Future Fusion. And now, with the existence of parallel dimensions, different versions of cards were even more expected. So the group accepted it easily. Then, Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, Direct Attack. TCH Trap Card, Mirror Force. Activate. Bomb. The mechanical dragon dismantled to pieces in a bright, blinding flash of light. Ah, so close. Hikaru almost dealt massive damage. Mirror force, if not for that. Now Hikaru's field is empty. Hikaru shielded himself with his left arm, watching his cyber dragon vanish. He sighed slightly, and shrugged. Watch carefully, Cyrus, Zane suddenly said. Eh? Watch Hikaru's next move carefully. Startled, Cyrus hurriedly focused. Main phase 2, Hikaru suddenly pressed the field spell button, making the dual disc automatically eject a field zone. I activate the field spell, Fusion Recycling Plant. Clank clank whir. A mass of bizarre machinery rose from the ground, replacing the surrounding, default forest field. A giant factory appeared behind Hikaru, scanning the area continuously. What is that? A fusion field spell? Fusion Recycling Plant's effect. Once per turn, I can discard a card to add polymerization from my deck or graveyard to my hand. Eh? Cyrus tilted his head. Then why not use Fusion Sage? Can-Aim also frowned in confusion. I discard a fusion substitute from my hand to add a second fusion substitute from my deck to my hand. Except for Zane, Jaden, and Chaz, who instantly understood, nearly everyone else was completely baffled by Hikaru's move. Discarding a fusion to fetch another fusion? Why? But soon, Bastion, blessed with extraordinary memory and eager to explain, sighed, I see, Fusion Substitute's effect lets you banish it from the graveyard to return a fusion monster to the extra deck and draw one card. Fusion monster, Can-Aim muttered, his face suddenly changing. Exactly. Hikaru snapped his fingers. You get it now, right? I return Chimeratech Fortress Dragon to the extra deck, banish Fusion Substitute, and draw one card. Kanami's face darkened. What could be worse than knowing your opponent has a fusion monster in the extra deck that can devour all your machine monsters as you watch him recycle it right before you, clearly preparing to do it again next turn? Damn it! Damn it! Hikaru's face darkened even more hearing that. Who's the one who's damn it here? Calling you senpai out of respect is fine, but with no respect, you're the one who's damn it. Fusion Club is full of bullying, interdorm hatred, a club meant for researching fusion turned into military training. How can people like you dare call yourselves part of the Fusion Club? Since I have the chance today, I'll show you my resolve. Fusion should mean unity, cooperation, connection, and collaboration. Not what you guys are doing. I set 3 cards face down and end my turn. 3 face downs? That's so heavily layered down. Today, Amaji Hikaru was all about torturing his opponent. Kanami's hands trembled. 3 face downs, what could they be? Meanwhile, some first years, already leaning towards Hikaru, voiced their support, some even airing their grievances about their miserable days in the Fusion Club. Honestly, this sort of thing wasn't rare at Duel Academy. Even outside the Fusion Club, bullying was rampant between dorms. The Academy's division system wasn't like Hogwarts houses, they were supposed to be equal. Yet, even in Hogwarts-style systems, bullying existed. Even so, Fusion Club stretched it even worse, and that's unforgivable. Can-Aim reluctantly drew a card. Always strict with himself, he was now drenched in cold sweat, wiping it from his forehead, no longer caring about appearances. He had long known that Amaji Hikaru was a true fusion extremist, but having never faced him directly before, he hadn't realized just how pure Hikaru's ideals were, making him feel insignificant. How could this be? He was a third year. He should be much stronger than Hikaru. Wiping his sweat again, he gritted his teeth. Don't think it's over yet. Indeed, next turn, Hikaru could use Cyber Dragon to destroy all his machine monsters. But, as long as he won this turn, it wouldn't matter. Because he knew, ancient gear monsters, when they attack, prevent the activation of spell or trap cards. Chapter 64, You've Fallen for It. I activate the continuous spell card, Ancient Gear Castle. Rumbling, a classic medieval castle slowly rose behind Can-Aim. Professor Growler, seeing the familiar card, finally let out a small sigh of relief. As long as this card is on the field, each time I normal summon, it gains 1 counter. Also, while it's on the field, all Ancient Gear monsters gain 300 ATK. I normal summon Ancient Gearhound in attack position. Ancient Gearhound, ATK, 1300. Can-Aim normal summon the hound from his hand, making it bite Hikaru again. Hikaru, LP, 3400 2800. Can-Aim stared at his hand, frowning deeply. The hound had 1300 ATK. To win this turn, he'd need at least 1500 more points of damage. He still had 2 monsters and a double summon. The monsters were Ancient Gear Tanker and Ancient Gear Wyvern. The Tanker, upon normal or special summon, could special summon another Ancient Gear monster from the hand, ignoring conditions. The Wyvern, upon summon, could add an Ancient Gear card from the deck to the hand. However, he looked at Hikaru's 3 face-down cards. When he normal summoned the hound earlier, Hikaru didn't react at all, not even checking the cards. So they were probably still the same ones. Flame Swords Dance? Or is it that trap card that sets an opponent's monster when special summoning Flame Swordsman or Dark Flare Knight? Heh, I activate the spell card, Double Summon. I can normal summon again this turn. Can-Aim laughed and revealed a card from his hand. I normal summon Ancient Gear Wyvern and activate its effect to add Ancient Gear Tank from my deck to my hand. However, during the turn I activate this effect, I cannot set cards. A mechanical wyvern covered in gears landed before him. Ancient Gear Wyvern, level 4 Earth Machine 1700 2000 ATK. Good, with Ancient Gear Tank's 600 ATK boost, this turn he could definitely. Foolish. Chaz crossed his arms and snorted lightly, shaking his head. Chaz, what do you mean? Cyrus said. Bastion shook his head. That Can-Aim guy fell for it. Hearing their discussion, Can-Aim instinctively halted his actions. Cyrus, you remember, right? Bastion, always eager to teach, explained, what's Hikaru's favorite trap card? Of course, Flame Swords Dance. It can not only fusion summon monsters but also set an opponent's monster face down, and even if destroyed, it can special summon Flame Swordsman from a set monster. It's Hikaru's soul card, right? Exactly. It's a trap that combines fusion and disruption, representing Hikaru's fusion trap mentality. Chaz nodded. Clearly, Can-Aim thought of this too, which is why he chose to normal summon rather than special summon. He fell into the trap. Hikaru probably didn't set that card at all. What? Can-Amin's eyes widened. Hikaru loaded his deck with Cyber Dragon and Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. Last turn, he even recycled Chimeratech Fortress Dragon into his extra deck, meaning he plans to continue fusing machine monsters on the field. Face-down monsters can't be used as fusion materials, Zane added. Then, Cyrus looked at Hikaru's face-down cards. No way. Whatever. I activate the spell card, Ancient Gear Tank, equipping it to Ancient Gear Wyvern. Its ATK rises by 600. Then, battle phase. Can-Aim gritted his teeth, if I attack successfully, I win. I've been waiting for this moment. I activate my face-down card. Hikaru's mouth curled into a smirk as he flipped a card face-up. Gladiator Beast United. Gladiator Beast. Can-Amin's face changed drastically. The Academy reps behind him also turned pale. They knew about Gladiator Beast. What's happening, that face-down card? This card can only be activated once per turn. During the battle phase, I can shuffle the fusion materials listed for a Gladiator Beast fusion monster from my hand, field, or graveyard into the deck to special summon that fusion monster from the extra deck. No way. He stared at Hikaru's hand in horror. That's right. Hikaru swung his arm. I shuffle Gladiator Beast Undul and Gladiator Beast Darius from my hand into the deck to special summon Gladiator Beast Jizarus. A warrior in full armor with a feathered helmet, fierce and ready, appeared. Gladiator Beast Jizarus, level 6 DARK Winged Beast 2400 ATK. No way. Can-Aim knew exactly what was happening. Your hand only had 2 cards, meaning Exactly. Activate Gizurus's effect. When it's special summoned, it can destroy up to 2 cards on the field. I destroy your Ancient Gear Castle and my own set card. Bomb! The classical castle collapsed, and simultaneously, one of Hikaru's face-down cards exploded, revealing itself as Fusion Substitute. What a bait! Chaz shook his head. Even with Ancient Gear Wyvern summoned, it all fell apart. Now then, Kaname-senpai, with your castle destroyed, your monster's ATK reverts to normal. Hikaru waved his arm. Your 2300 Wyvern can't match Gizurus. Also, you can't set cards this turn, though you don't have any anyway. My turn. Hikaru showed no mercy, drawing a card and immediately playing another set card. I reveal my set card, Fusion Armament. Its effect lets me reveal a fusion monster, Cyber Twin Dragon, then special summon a fusion material from my deck or graveyard. Come back, Cyber Dragon. Fusion Armament, another fake. This ends now. Hand over your machines. Descend, Chimeratech Fortress Dragon. Chimeratech Fortress Dragon, ATK, 3000. Direct attack. Fall before the true fusion. Crush. Can aim, LP, 4000. Chapter 65, The Golden-Clad Figures. Under the blow of the holographic projection, Kan-Aim knelt painfully on one knee. Only after the projection faded did he grit his teeth, stand up, cast a cold glance at Amaji Hikaru, click his tongue, and leave without a word. If it were under Leo Akaba's command, he wouldn't necessarily obey the winner's conditions even if he lost. But since this duel had the recognition of professors and other students, he couldn't refuse. Although the Fusion Army had hidden secret forces on Academy Island, compared to the majority of students, they were still vastly outnumbered. Now, all he could do was return and accept punishment. He won? Then doesn't that mean Amaji's club is now the new Fusion Club? No, Amaji is the Fusion Club. But I've always been a member of the Fusion Club. Honestly, Senpai lost pretty badly. And in the end, he chose to attack with monsters instead of fusion, even though he had Ancient Gear Hound on the field? Exactly. Fusion means believing in fusion all the way. If the president himself doesn't believe in it, why should we listen to him? Hikaru lightly combed his hair with his hand. It felt refreshing. Congrats, Hikaru. Bastion came up to congratulate him. Ha, if this isn't Subaru? You're back? My name's Bastion. Bastion shook his head helplessly, then smiled and nodded. Losing to a spirit had caused some changes in his mindset. Thankfully, with Hikaru and the others' help, he hadn't fallen into despair. So, from now on, we're officially the Fusion Club? Jaden joined in. That's a bit of a shame. I still think Hero Fusion Club or NEO Fusion Club sounds cooler. Cyberflow Fusion Club is the best. Fusion what? Chaz, yours doesn't even make sense. Hikaru laughed. Meanwhile, Cyrus finally understood why Zane had told him to watch this duel carefully. He remembered when he was still an elementary schooler. Back then, Zane had given him a Power Bond, a machine-exclusive fusion spell card that could double a fusion monster's ATK. Trying to fight back against his bullies, he dueled one of them. When he drew Power Bond, he thought he would finally win, but Zane arrived in time, surrendering on his behalf. Zane had revealed the opponent's set card, showing that if Cyrus had activated Power Bond, it would have been negated, resulting in massive damage and defeat. Since then, Zane forbade him from using Power Bond and sealed it away. Recently, after defeating the Paradox Brothers with Jaden, Cyrus thought he had earned his brother's approval. Yet, Zane still didn't allow him to go to the other dimension. Turns out he hadn't even noticed the trap Hikaru set. He lowered his head. Then, he remembered something Hikaru had said before. Joining the Fusion Club, well, maybe it couldn't be called Fusion Club anymore. Even Senpai fell for it. Though, if it was Hikaru, wouldn't he have set another trap beforehand instead? Well, maybe it wouldn't be so bad. Cyrus tilted his head, struggling. Hey, Cyrus, what are you thinking about? Jaden threw an arm around Cyrus. Come on, Hikaru's treating us. Zane's coming too. Everyone's happy, let's go. They dragged Cyrus off. Meanwhile, in the shadows, Professor Banner adjusted his glasses slightly. He had watched everything secretly. Lately, he had closely observed Hikaru and the others. Even when Hikaru and Jaden left for Neo Domino City, he had people collecting info. In his eyes, the students' growth had become very impressive. Jaden, who once fought alone, now had reliable friends. Chaz, though still aloof, had grown closer to Jaden thanks to their common enemy, Hikaru. Zane, after finding Atticus, had also begun to open up, guiding younger students and even talking more with his brother. Jaden's fusion abilities had progressed even faster than he had predicted, thanks to Hikaru's influence. But what about Hikaru? He looked at Hikaru. His closest student, known as Professor Growler's disciple to the world, his pursuit of fusion and exploration of alchemy, was it mere talk, or had he truly embraced it? The ultimate fusion, honestly. Banner pushed up his glasses, smiling ever brighter. He pulled out a thick book and flipped through it. The 4 stages of alchemy. Blackening, representing the burning and purification of raw materials. Whitening, refining the blackened matter, symbolizing purification. Yellowing, adding new materials, deeply fusing the essence of gold and silver, further sublimation. Reddening, final synthesis of a dense, fragile, easily melted purple-red material, symbolizing the ultimate goal. Hikaru, right now, was he still whitening, or had he already begun yellowing? Looks like it's time to find and arrange a stronger opponent. Banner stroked his chin thoughtfully. After some thought, he decided to go through with it. He squeezed the book lightly. The book suddenly opened without wind, pages spinning wildly until it landed on one glowing with golden light. I'm counting on you, old friend. Interesting, a new generation of alchemists? Very well, I accept this request. Like the ringing of bells or metal clashing, a voice echoed from the book to his ears. He could almost see it, a golden spirit, clad in gold and silver, covered in jewels, resting their chin on one hand, smiling mischievously at the cross-dimensional communication. Perfect timing. I happen to have someone eager to visit your dimension. All the better. I'll create a transfer portal immediately. Banner nodded gently, closing the book. Hikaru. Do you truly have the qualifications to inherit this book symbolizing truth? Let me witness it myself. That night. For once, Hikaru, who normally wasn't fond of indulgences, spent money treating his friends to a meal. Many first-year students who had applied to join the new Fusion Club also attended, even some second and third year. Hikaru welcomed everyone warmly, treating it like a welcome party. For the regular students, it made no difference where they dueled or where they played. Wouldn't it be better to join a club centered around pure fusion, where everyone could duel happily together? Besides, they were the real Fusion Club, and as for that nameless group under Professor Akaba, please, don't steal their name. The clouds gradually cleared as if mirroring the students' hearts. The moon was exceptionally enormous and bright tonight, illuminating the academy. And then, at the highest point of the academy, a figure stood effortlessly atop a spire, arms crossed. Their entire body shone gold, dazzling like the sun under the moonlight, while a red cloak billowed in the wind. Proudly standing tall, they seemed to gaze distantly toward Hikaru and his friends. As the clouds covered the moon again and the welcome party wrapped up, Jaden, struck by a sudden craving to duel, dragged Hikaru for another match. In this instant, they found themselves standing near a cluster of towering skyscrapers. Shadow Riders! Jaden shouted instinctively. Wah! Avian popped out, startled. Wow! Alchemist also materialized next to Hikaru, his eyes sparkling. They looked ahead, 2 figures, fully clad in gold, were already waiting for them. Elemental Hero Captain Gold. And Golden Eye's idol. Sea Captain. Avian shivered. Chapter 66, Golden Eyes. Captain Gold stood imposingly in the center of the city, arms crossed, looking absolutely majestic. He cast a cold glance at Avian and snorted, "Avian." "Why yes." Avian jumped in fright. "I remember, the day we parted, we made a pact, whoever found Jaden first would find a way to contact the others, right?" He slowly unfolded his arms, staring at Avian. "So why, even after I returned to the human world, did you never contact me?" Avian turned his head away, whistling. "You know how it is, the connection between the human world and the other dimension is really random. The portal at Duel Academy was closed down, and I didn't get a chance." "Not convincing at all." Captain Gold continued to stare coldly at him. Hikaru raised an eyebrow. No wonder this guy, usually cocky and looking down on everyone, got so nervous when facing Captain Gold. Turns out he had messed up? Trying to hog Jaden for himself, huh? "Ah, you're the captain, Captain Gold, right?" Jaden suddenly recognized him, getting excited. "I remember. You're Captain Gold, an elemental hero. Wow, you look even cooler in person than on the cards." Captain Gold's grand pose almost fell apart. Ahem. At that moment, the many-eyed entity beside him, Golden Eyes Idol, coughed. "Captain Gold, don't forget the mission bestowed upon us by His Majesty Eldlik." "Mission? Oh, right." Captain Gold looked at Jaden and Hikaru. Hikaru, still recalling Eldlik's name, noticed the look and grew suspicious. Because they were elemental heroes, Hikaru hadn't initially suspected anything sinister. But now, hearing Eldlik and mission, he began to rethink stuff. Could it be that Egghead was pulling strings again? No, the Egghead couldn't possibly command elemental heroes. Then, "Let's do a proper introduction," Captain Gold snorted again. "We are Captain Gold and Golden Eyes Idol, the 6th of the Shadow Riders, here under orders to take your keys." "What? You're Shadow Riders?" Jaden instantly stopped being sentimental, glancing at Hikaru, and shouted, "Careful, Hikaru." Captain Gold clenched his fist before slowly relaxing it. "The duel format is 2v2. You know the rules." Beside him, Golden Eyes Idol carefully observed Hikaru, all its countless eyes scanning up and down as if analyzing him. "Losers will suffer the curse of goldenization." Captain Gold lifted a card held between two fingers, depicting piles of gold coins. "Hey, are you crazy?" Avian shouted, claws out in a battle stance. "You wanna fight?" He might have made mistakes, but threatening Jaden was crossing a line. Goldenization sounds amazing. Besides Hikaru, Alchemist's eyes lit up. "Can I goldenize a part of him instead?" Avian looked at him, exasperated. "Hey, Hikaru, is your spirit friend crazy?" "Ha ha." Hikaru chuckled, then looked at Captain Gold. "Despite that, you two, aren't you already goldenized? Isn't this unfair?" "Heh, simple." Golden Eyes Idol lifted a finger. "If you win, the two of us will become your cards. We've already confirmed, our abilities perfectly match your decks. Just a little, but not perfectly." Hikaru thought. Still, Golden Eyes Idol could become a legal fusion material for Thousand Eyes Restrict. Plus, it was a level 1 monster, easy for metamorphosis plays. Pretty useful, actually. Not only that, but His Majesty Eldlik has prepared grand prizes for you. Golden Eyes Idol stepped aside, revealing a pile of what initially looked like trash. Gems. Red, blue, yellow, all kinds, sparkling in heaps enough to dazzle anyone. Whoa! Jaden gasped. Wow! Hikaru's eyes gleamed too. With these, he could attempt low-tier gem night alchemy. Or simply sell some and buy rare cards. After all, cards in this world were ridiculously expensive. Looks pretty fair. Avian scratched his head with a claw. Even so, if you really turn Jaden into gold, our boss will make you pay. Enough talking. The captain extended his left arm, a brilliant dual disc unfolded from his golden bracer. Simultaneously, a golden dual disc flew onto Golden Eyes Idol's right arm. Jaden, you go first. Captain Gold snorted. Then it's my turn. Just like back then. Jaden glanced at Hikaru. They exchanged looks and nodded. Back in Warrior's Realm, Jaden had also gone first, with Avian following. Meaning, no matter what decks or personalities these spirits had, their approach was similar. They could even guess some aspects of their decks. Alright, then it's my turn. Draw I normal summon elemental hero Playman. Jaden drew and revealed a monster. Elemental hero Playman. Level 4 Earth Warrior 800 ATK. Playman in attack position? Captain Gold's movement stiffened, glaring at Avian, as if blaming him for how Jaden had degenerated. What are you glaring at? Just watch, Jaden's way stronger than you think. Ah ha ha. Jaden scratched his face, then grew serious. I activate the spell card, Metamorphosis. Metamorphosis? Captain Gold was surprised. Its effect lets me tribute one monster to special summon a fusion monster from the extra deck with the same level. Clayman, transform into your new form. Special summon, Elemental Hero Play Guardian in defense position. Elemental Hero Play Guardian, level 4 Earth Warrior 2800 def. Even Captain Gold looked a little impressed seeing a familiar comrade evolve. Set one card. End turn. Captain Gold shook his head. Barely passable. My turn. Draw I activate my effect, I discard myself, Evil Hero Adusted Gold, to add Dark Fusion or a card mentioning it from the deck to my hand. Just as expected. Hikaru and Jaden exchanged glances and nodded. Everything was as calculated. Chapter 67, Cooperation of Ideas. The key trait of Dark Fusion is that the fusion summon monster can't be destroyed by effects during the turn it's summoned. Jaden, noticing Captain Gold adding a card to his hand, immediately braced himself. He wasn't the same as he had been half a year ago, after traveling between dimensions, dueling alongside classmates, witnessing the strength of Zane, Chaz, Bastion, and Hikaru, and even experiencing several shadow games himself. He had gained a whole new understanding of dueling. He remembered Dark Fusion's effects clearly. Next would probably be Dark Fusion. Next, I normal summon Elemental Hero Stratos. However, the captain's next play shocked both duelists. Stratos? Stratos. Each was stunned for a different reason. Jaden was shocked because he had never seen that card before. Hikaru was shocked because, oh man, Stratos. If you had 3 Stratos, who wouldn't want to be a hero player? Elemental Hero Stratos' effect, when this card is summoned, it can activate one of 2 abilities. I choose the second, add 1 hero card from the deck to my hand. I add another version of myself, Evil Hero Adusted Gold, to my hand. What? Jaden cried out instinctively. Such a strong effect. It can freely search any hero, even evil hero cards. Seeing Jaden's amazement, Captain Gold finally allowed himself a small smile before revealing another card. Field spell, Fusion Gate. Amidst the towering skyscrapers, a giant black hole formed of grids appeared. Skyscraper. Avian chuckled, pointing across. If it's card effect related, then the captain should already be destroyed. That comment unexpectedly tickled Hikaru. Captain Gold's effect stated that if Skyscraper wasn't on the field, he would self-destruct, the ultimate I must look cool or die personality. But Hikaru quickly refocused. No, Jaden, evil hero fusion monsters can only be fusion summoned using Dark Fusion, so... right. Jaden realized. Using Fusion Gate's effect, I fuse Stratos on the field with myself in hand. Fusion materials, 1 monster with Elemental Hero in its name, and 1 light attribute monster. I fusion summon the hero who brings the light. Elemental Hero the Shining. A hero in pure white armor, masked and arms folded across his chest, descended from the sky like a sun. Mechanical golden halos shone behind him, resembling the divine radiance in myth. Elemental Hero the Shining, level 8 Light Warrior 2600 ATK. Phew. My Clay Guardian still has higher DF, Jaden muttered. 2800 def beats 2600 ATK after all. Jaden, it has an effect, Hikaru reminded him from the side. Ah, right. The Shining's effect, it gains 300 ATK for each of my banished monsters with Elemental Hero in their names. Elemental Hero the Shining, ATK, 2600 3200. It's like Flare Wingman's effect. Jaden then thought of another detail. And the fusion materials are similar to Great Tornado. Ah, I see now, Captain, you've evolved new powers from the other dimension too. Exactly. The Shining crossed his arms, posing just like the Captain. Battle, the Shining, attack, and destroy Clay Guardian. Golden light flooded the field, Clay Guardian shattered under the attack. Jaden shielded himself against the impact, then quickly activated a trap card. Activate trap card, Hero Signal. When one of my monsters is destroyed by battle, I can special summon a level 4 or lower elemental hero from my hand or deck. Instead of acting immediately, Jaden called out, Hikaru, any monster? Anything's fine, but preferably a normal monster. Got it, Avian, you're up. Got it. Avian leapt in enthusiastically. Oh. Captain Gold paused, noticing Jaden's teamwork. As a child, Jaden's overwhelming dark power had left him few friends, only the hero cards had accompanied him, and he had always dueled thinking only of himself and his deck. While now, he actually consulted a teammate during a duel. Clearly, he had changed. Of course, maybe it was also because Hikaru was strong enough to earn Jaden's trust. I set 2 cards and end my turn. 2 face downs. Hikaru thoughtfully stroked his chin, glancing at the golden idol. I see, he murmured. Question mark. The golden idol, confused, mimicked the Captain, folding its arms, trying to look profound. Draw for turn. Hikaru drew a card and instantly began talking. Captain Gold discarded himself to search Dark Fusion, then let Stratos add another copy of himself to fuse. Even though Adusted Gold is light too, why not search a more useful hero? Simple, he left that Dark Fusion for you, his teammate. The golden idol's many golden eyes spun nervously. I don't understand what you're saying. Hikaru shook his head. Even without obvious communication, these two actually coordinate pretty well. Jaden, be careful, this won't be like Gaia. Got it. Avian blared at Hikaru, stop hinting things at me. Alright, I normal summon Ancient Gear Knight. Hikaru revealed another card. Next, spell card, Fusion Tag. This card lets a monster on my field be treated as a monster listed on a Fusion Monsters materials. I target Ancient Gear Knight and reveal Full Metalphos Alcest. Next, spell card, Metalphos Fusion. Hikaru really hadn't expected he'd one day use this card's effect. Oh. Is it my turn? Full Metalphos Alcest cheered. He was about to duel 2 golden spirits personally. Fusion materials, 1 Metalphos monster plus 1 normal monster. Forge the ordinary into the universal, the alchemical product that dissolves all, descend. Fusion summon, Full Metalphos Alcest. Full Metalphos Alcest, level 1 Fiery Psychic 0 ATK/0 def. In defense position. Psychic type? Captain Gold loosened his stance. Level 1, 0 ATK, 0 DEF. Golden Eyes Idol nervously leaned back, starting to sweat bullets under his golden body. Especially when Alcest's eyes, hidden behind red shades, stared back at him like admiring a rare beauty, he nearly panicked. Activate Metalphos Fusion's graveyard effect, shuffle it into the deck, then draw 1 card, oh? Hikaru looked at the drawn card and shrugged. Lucky, spell card, Ready Fusion. I pay 1000 life points to special summon Thousand Eyes Restrict. Students LP, 8000 7000. Seeing the familiar monster, Captain Gold pursed his lips and glanced at his companion. Golden Eyes Idol wiped its golden forehead nervously. This guy keeps stealing my plays. Chapter 68, Walking the Opponent's Path. Seeing the Shining absorbed by Thousand Eyes Restrict, Captain Gold wasn't surprised. In fact, he looked like he was completely used to it. Then, I set one card and end my turn. During the end phase, the Thousand Eyes restrict summoned by Ready Fusion is destroyed, Captain Gold said coldly. Shatter, false evil god. Boom! Thousand Eyes restrict shattered. Hikaru didn't mind, after all, it was just a temporary field solution drawn by luck, and having fewer monsters left on his field was actually more advantageous. Now, the Shining's effect activates. Captain Gold raised a finger, a massive orb of light forming above him. When sent from the field to the graveyard, I can add up to 2 of my banished elemental hero monsters to my hand. I add Stratos and myself back to my hand. Wow, with that, he can fusion summon again next turn. Jaden exclaimed as he watched the Duel Disk update. And Stratos can be summoned again next turn to search for another hero. Jaden, looks like we'll need to find a way to destroy the field spell. Yeah. Hikaru understood the Shining well, though, seeing Captain Gold deliberately showing off to Jaden, he decided not to interrupt. Finally my turn. Golden Eyes Idol wiped the sweat from its forehead, drew a card, and chuckled twice. Normally, in tag duels, the fourth player often suffered, either because the damage was too high early on or because they just watched others play while doing nothing. Although he hadn't even played a move yet, Golden Eyes Idol already felt a bit of that frustration. Then, suddenly. I summon myself, Golden Eyes Idol. Oh. Full Metalfo Zalcast, standing opposite, cheered excitedly. Golden Eyes Idol, level 1 DARK spellcaster 0 ATK. Seeing his excitement, Golden Eyes Idol awkwardly rubbed his arm. I activate my effect. Once per turn, during either player's turn, reveal your entire hand. So dirty. Jaden cried out. Hikaru, as if expecting this, calmly revealed his 2 remaining cards in hand. Since this is a tag duel, Jaden counts as the backup duelist, you can only view my hand. Whatever. Once it's his turn, I'll see it too Golden Eyes Idol laughed gleefully. Let's see. Miracle Fusion and Fusion Substitute? Golden Eyes Idol blinked in confusion. All fusion cards? Other than Ancient Gear Knight, everything was fusion related. So this was the pursuer of fusion that His Majesty spoke of? Golden Eyes Idol rubbed its round head. Before crossing the portal created by that terrifying alchemist, Eldlik had given them instructions. First, never provoke that alchemist, he was a supreme figure, far beyond even Eldlik himself. Second, their mission was to challenge 2 of the alchemist's students. Regardless of the outcome, they would not be punished and fight boldly. Third, if, during the duel, they felt inspired by the student's spirit, they were allowed to follow them. These 2 had been handpicked by Eldlik. No wonder His Majesty told me to watch Hikaru carefully. Renaming cards, multi-layered fusion, truly impressive. Still, everything depended on what happened next. My effect continues. Until the end phase, my name becomes Thousand Eyes Idol. Golden Eyes Idol pointed at its own phantom as a transparent Thousand Eyes Idol enveloped it, then it activated a facedown card. I activate the spell card, Dark Fusion. I'll fuse Summon Skull and Scapegoat from my hand, Fusion Summon, Archfiend's Manifestation. A bullhorn demon surged out of the darkness. Archfiend's Manifestation, level 60 Archfiend 2500 3000 ATK. While Archfiend's Manifestation is on the field, its name becomes Summon Skull, and all Summon Skull monsters gain 500 ATK. Battle. Archfiend's Manifestation, attack. Wait. Hikaru raised a hand, startling Golden Eyes Idol into almost rolling up into a ball. Full Metalfo Zalcast's effect activates. Once per opponent's turn, I can target an opponent's effect monster and equip it to this card. What? Golden Eyes Idol's dozens of eyes widened. He's stealing my move again. Alcest, dissolve it. I'd love to melt gold, but I'll behave during the duel. Alcest swung his staff, causing Archfiend's Manifestation to melt into liquid and merge into his armor. Alcest's def increases by the ATK of the equipped monster. Full Metalfo Zalcast, def, 0 2500. He can absorb monsters during the opponent's turn. Even Captain Gold couldn't stay silent. Stronger than you. Shut up. Golden Eye's idol snapped. Hikaru chuckled. This was the difference between Dark Fusion in OCG versus this world's Dark Fusion. Here, fusion monsters summoned by Dark Fusion couldn't be destroyed that turn, but in the OCG, they couldn't even be targeted. If this were his own world, he wouldn't have been able to pull this off. Where's your Thousand Eyes Restrict? Captain Gold said. Hold your horses. Golden Eye's idol retorted. Using Fusion Gates effect, I fuse myself and relinquished from my hand, Fusion Summon, Thousand Eyes Restrict. At first, he had planned to destroy Full Metalfo's Alcest with Archfiend's manifestation and keep himself safe to peek at Jaden's hand next turn. But that had been ruined. Thousand Eyes Restrict, Level 1 DARK Spellcaster 0 ATK. I won't activate my own effect, I'll activate Thousand Eyes Restrict's effect, to absorb Full Metalfo's Alcest. You eat me, I eat you, that's how dueling works, right? Golden Eye's idol wiped the sweat from its forehead. At last, he'd reclaimed his own move. Still, seeing Full Metalfo's Alcest had 0 ATK/def anyway, the fact that Thousand Eyes Restrict's stats didn't change at all made Golden Eye's idol feel utterly miserable. Chapter 69, Perfect Cooperation. My turn. Jaden drew a card from his deck. Jaden, you have a big mission this turn. Avian warned from the side. You have to deal with the Feel spell and that Thousand Eyes Restrict. Really? I don't think so. Jaden showed a confident smile, flashing his hand. Spell card, Pot of Greed, activate. Hikaru smacked his lips. If he could draw Pot of Greed every turn, he'd be confident too. Sadly, his Pot of Greed had turned into Metalfo's Fusion and Fusion Substitute. Jaden drew 2 cards and immediately had an idea. I activate Field Spell, Skyscraper. Rumble. Even though the surroundings were already filled with skyscrapers, even more rose, replacing the previously active Fusion Gate. Hikaru nodded approvingly. In this world, duel rules hadn't been updated yet, so turn-first players could draw, and only one field spell could exist at a time, replacing the old one. Captain Gold glanced around but said nothing. He liked Skyscraper. Jaden carefully reviewed the field, Hikaru's facedowns, and the known cards in Hikaru's hand. His set card was that. And Hikaru's hand held Miracle Fusion and Fusion Substitute. LP, 7000, Jaden and Hikaru, versus 8000, Golden Duo. After another glance at his own hand, Jaden made his decision. I set 3 cards and end my turn. 3 cards? Captain Gold shook his head. Counting Hikaru's set card, that's 4. Isn't that a bit much? Draw. Captain Gold glanced at Golden Eye's idol. Well, what now? Don't ask me. Golden Eye's idol's many eyes darted around. Thousand Eyes Restrict was a powerful monster. It could absorb an opponent's monster every turn and locked all others from changing position or attacking. But, it had absorbed Full Metalfo's Alcest, who had 0 ATK/def. Obviously, 0 absorbing 0 equals still 0. Thus, it remained a 0 ATK monster, unable to deal damage. What a headache. Captain Gold hadn't expected to be stuck by his own teammate. He side-eyed Avian. Ah. Not the first time. He pondered. Should he tribute the Thousand Eyes Restrict to summon something stronger? Or just wait? Captain Gold felt trapped. This was tag dueling. Once special cases happened, all 4 players could get stuck waiting for an opening. And now, because of Thousand Eyes Restrict, the opponents would surely stall until they could fight back. Just in case, I normal summon myself. Elemental Hero Captain Gold, Level 4 Light Warrior 2100 ATK. His set card was the Trap Hero Barrier, which could block one attack if he had a face-up Elemental Hero monster. Jaden's set cards were probably defense-oriented, not much to worry about. End turn. Ha! Looks like we'll settle this now, Jaden grinned. Question mark. Captain Gold froze. End phase, I activate Quick Play spell, Flute of Summoning Kuriboh, special summon Winged Kuriboh from my deck. Kori. The fluffy, winged Kuriboh soared onto the field. Winged Kuriboh, and it's a spirit. Also, so close to Jaden. Captain Gold was surprised by the new spirit's appearance. My turn. Thanks, Jaden. Hikaru said. Dragging it out will hurt us. Let's end it this turn. Impossible. You have no monsters, and we still have 8,000 LP. Golden Eyes Idol protested. We'll see about that. Droll Hikaru drew and glanced at his new card. Didn't get it, Jaden. Ha, then use mine. Jaden's eyes burned with determination. Ha, been waiting for you to say that. Since their battle in the warrior's realm, Jaden had been working hard, and though he still napped in class, his dueling instincts had sharpened dramatically. First, I activate the trap, Hero Blast. Ah! Captain Gold flinched. I target one level 4 or lower normal elemental hero in my graveyard, and add it to my hand, Avian. Hikaru returned Avian to hand. Then, Hero Blast destroys one opponent's monster whose ATK is equal to or lower than the retrieved monster's ATK. Of course, destroy Thousand Eyes restrict. Boom! You're choosing destruction now. Captain Gold exclaimed. Next, I activate another set card, Card Destruction. Card Destruction. Golden Eyes Idol gaped. What did Jaden set? Both players discard their entire hands, then draw the same number. Hikaru dumped his hand into the graveyard, drawing fresh cards. Captain Gold reluctantly discarded Stratos. With the new hand, Hikaru's eyes gleamed. Got it. I activate Fusion Substitute's graveyard effect, banish it, return full Metalfo's Alcest to the extra deck, and draw one card. Then, activate spell, Fusion Armament, reveal Dark Flare Knight, and special summon Flame Swordsman as a material. At last, breathing room. Flame Swordsman cheered as he landed. Well, I'm just being tribute again, he chuckled. But that's okay. Hikaru smiled too, raising his hand. Now, Flame Swordsman, Winged Kuriboh, I summon you forth. Yes. Kori. Both monsters transformed into light, merging into a massive mechanical giant. Ancient Gear Golem. Captain Gold stared at the towering figure. Finally, I activate a continuous trap, Ancient Gear Duel. A purple trap card flipped up, Hikaru's hidden set card. If I control Ancient Gear Golem, I can banish monsters from my field and graveyard to fusion summon a monster that lists Ancient Gear Golem as material. And the summoned monster can attack 3 times this battle phase. What? 3 attacks? Wait, didn't you have 2 fusion cards earlier? Golden Eyes Idol yelled. Wrong, he also sent Ancient Gear Knight to the graveyard earlier as material. Plus, he discarded another Ancient Gear Beast just now. Captain Gold realized. Amazing, Jaden. You've gotten so good at cooperating. That's right. Thanks, Jaden. Hikaru cheered. Jaden, noticing Hikaru's set card last turn, had meticulously planned everything to let Hikaru go all out. Without Jaden's support, Hikaru couldn't have pulled off this complex combo. Moreover, Ancient Gear Duel's requirements were much higher than Ancient Gear Fusion. Ba-dome. The giant golem stood tall, with a staggering 4,400 ATK, announcing its dominance over the field. The 2 golden spirits exchanged glances. We're doomed. Chapter 70, The Peerless Alchemist. Then as promised, these gems are yours, Golden Eyes Idol said, pointing to the pile of jewels. We'll split it evenly, Hikaru said to Jaden. I don't know much about this stuff, so let's just divide it straight down the middle. Jaden didn't think much of it as he wasn't short on money and agreed readily. We'll probably need Tomesan to help sell them, Hikaru scratched the back of his head. First, sell a portion then, buy this world's versions of Future Fusion and Overload Fusion. He'd had his eye on Zane's cards for a long time. After the duel ended, neither of the golden spirits disappeared. Captain Gold came to Jaden's side, looking at the now-grown Jaden with pride, before pointing to a corner. "Go crouch over there." Avian obediently trotted over to squat, looking less like a hero and more like a street thug. "This guy, without supervision, gets worse and worse," Captain Gold shook his head, while Jaden laughed awkwardly. "Jaden, it's been a while. You've grown far braver and more excellent than I imagined," Captain Gold praised sincerely. "Facing shadow games without fear, not stubbornly clinging to pride, and entrusting victory to your companions, I'm proud of you." As the captain of the hero spirits, he deeply valued teamwork and once protected Jaden like a guardian. It was just a shame that, because of that event, they had been exiled to another dimension. Honestly, I've been changing just recently," Jaden scratched his head. "It's all thanks to Hikaru. He's taught me a lot these past 6 months." "Hikaru? That alchemist called Amaji Hikaru?" Captain Gold looked toward Hikaru. Before coming, he'd already heard about Hikaru from Eldlik. He thought for a moment, then suddenly, several cards dropped into Jaden's hand. Elemental Hero Captain Gold, Evil Hero Adusted Gold, Elemental Hero The Shining, and Evil Hero Malicious Fiend. "Jaden, entrust the power of Malicious Fiend to him," Captain Gold said. "I sense a familiar, terrifying strength from him. He should be able to handle it, and consider it thanks for supporting you. I'll be with you from now on." "Ha ha. Thanks, Captain." Meanwhile, Hikaru was more curious about why they came to this world and what mission they carried. After some explanation, he understood. They were spirits from the Golden Land, a dimension ruled by Eldlik the Golden Lord. Far ages ago, Eldlik had fallen into madness and begun uncontrollably invading other spirit dimensions, leading to devastating battles. At that critical time, a peerless alchemist appeared, curing and even elevating Eldlik, filling the missing gaps in his being, turning him into the ultimate Golden Lord. Afterward, Eldlik became friends with that alchemist and promised to offer help if needed. Since then, Eldlik ceased his invasions, while silently amassing strength and gathering spirits, preparing for something. And this time, under the alchemist's guidance, the golden spirits had come to this world. "Wait," Hikaru raised his hand. "You mean, that peerless alchemist built a dimensional path without a portal and brought you here?" "Exactly. And this fragmented metropolis dimension we're in now was also created by that alchemist?" "Correct. He even restored the missing parts of Eldlika's existence?" "I've repeated it several times now, human's alchemist." Golden Eyes Idol insisted. "A legendary alchemist who traveled countless dimensions, created the Philosopher's Stone by hand, and is revered across spirit worlds." "Holy!" Hikaru blinked, dumbfounded. "That Professor Banner?" No, he shook his head to stay rational, though hard. Unlike Jaden, Hikaru had long known that in the original, Professor Banner was the true leader of the Shadow Riders. He alone had defeated all the duelists besides Jaden, waiting alone in his lab for Jaden's growth. Compared to the other Shadow Riders, Banner was undisputedly strong. Even among the current story's Shadow Riders, the original Banner would still reign supreme. No matter those fusion hero duelists, vampires from other dimensions, or early darkness avatars, none could likely defeat Banner. He was a top-tier alchemist who could forge the Philosopher's Stone. And now, hearing Golden Eyes Idol, Hikaru realized something deeper. In the original, Banner traveled the world seeking alchemical truth. In this world, if he traveled many dimensions before death, what could he have turned into? A peerless alchemist. The legendary strongest alchemist? Anyway, Golden Eyes Idol said, "Your duel was marvelous, flawless teamwork, better cooperation than me and that grump. Among alchemists, you're already excellent at harmonization. Please let me follow." "Really?" Alcest suddenly leapt forward, staring at him with shining eyes. "Really, for real? Master, can I touch him?" Alcest already held up a hammer, ready to knock some gold off. "What the fuck? Where did this lunatic come from? Don't hit me." You'll have to ask him first," Hikaru said, watching the chaos. Accepting new fusion monsters from Jaden, and feeling the richness of his gains, Hikaru finally shook off his shock, patting his cheeks and smiling brightly. Ha ha ha. He had it wrong. Wasn't this the greatest blessing? If Professor Banner was even stronger than before, then learning alchemy from him would be even better. That wraps up this part of What If Fusion Deck User in a Different Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.